I've reached the point in my room build where I'm not so much doing stuff in my room at the moment. I'm doing a lot of playing around with different things, smaller stuff that can affect especially the sound. Um, I've started taking a couple of bits of kit out the room that I don't really need because I've started selling stuff so I can fund some of my future purchases. But one of the things I've been working on was I was working on speaker isolation. So I've done what normally everyone does. I put some granite slabs underneath my speakers. So granite slabs underneath the speaker stands, granite slab underneath the sub. The sub's not actually hooked up at the moment. I'll explain why. I have always done the isolation pucks in between my speaker and my stand with projects that I've done. Partly because I always got results that I liked, partly because I always thought the logic was if you have a speaker stand with a speaker on top, why would you isolate underneath? Because then you've got a whole speaker stand that's vibrating along with the speaker. Surely you would isolate the speaker from the stand, which then means the speaker on its own is isolated. But I know a lot of people kind of do it this way and a lot of people do it the other way, and it's kind of what you like. So I've put my isolation pucks in between. They're not expensive. There are ones made by a company in England where the guy engineers them and cuts them, and they're really easy to get. So I just bought them online. The other major thing that I did was I filled my speaker stands with sand. So now they don't resonate at all. They're dull. I've got a friend who said the best thing to do was to literally tap your speaker stands and see if they resonate, if they've got any either metal bits in them or hollow sections. And then that noise, make sure you remember that noise so that when you come to do stuff, is that noise part of what's going on in your room and what's going on with your sound? Because that's the vibration or that's the frequency that you're looking for. I played some tunes with these half full. I didn't feel like it made a massive difference, but then as soon as I put them full completely, I noticed a lot of changes. And this is probably why I wanted to mention this and make this video. So, like I said, at the moment I don't have my sub plugged in for a bunch of techie reasons. So I've been playing with my speakers on their own. These speakers, because they're big boxes, do really well, or I won't say really well with bass, but they play a lot of bass notes, right? They play a lot of kick drum and bass guitar and things like that. And as soon as I filled the speaker stands up with sand, on top of obviously granite slabs and isolation pucks, the thing I said to my friend was, I've lost a lot of bass. But then the more and more I think about it and the more discussions I have with different people, and even one of the things I do is I put all my information in ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT says. And actually the phrase I think said is, it's not that you've lost bass, it's that you've gained control. So a lot of the bass noise that I was hearing was actually a mixture of room, a mixture of vibration, maybe exaggerated notes that aren't as accurate. Now, from my bookshelf speakers, at least on their own, I'm not getting anywhere near as much boomy bass. That was what I'd say. It's the boomy side of it that has disappeared. So when I play it now, everything seems a bit tighter. Even with the mid and the upper mid, it sounds a lot better and clearer, and especially when I make things louder, the clarity keeps going up and up and up, where before you could actually hear a lot of the room, which is really good. It's quite impressive. But it's strange because that first time you do it, you think, oh, what have I done? I've done something really bad. Where actually, I think the introduction of the isolation in the long term is going to be a really good solution. The reason my sub isn't plugged in at the moment is, like I said, I've been selling all my kit that I don't need. And at the moment, I only have my DAC plugged straight into my amp. Because what I'm doing is I'm saving up for a preamp. I've pretty much decided that I'm going to buy a preamp. So I think probably later on this week or maybe by the weekend, I'm going to sit down and order myself a preamp. And then that will allow me, the way my wiring's done, to then plug my sub back in. I didn't want to wire my sub into the back of the amp and mess around with it and see if I got any interference or like anything like that, or just affected the sound quality, because long term that's not a good solution. So one of the big things about getting a preamp is going to be being able to plug my sub in, and especially if I go, which I think I might do, I might start stacking subs, and I might go 2 of the same sub on one side, so that I get that kind of 3 to 6 dB bass increase because they're on top of each other and with each other. When I used to do big sound systems, that was the thing we talked about all the time, was, is it less than a bass wave away from the other sub? And if it is, then it'll couple. And especially if they're next to each other, on top of each other, they're going to turn into monsters. So I think that's the plan. So I'm going to order a preamp probably the end of this week, in the next 3 days or something like that, 4 days. And then from there, get it all wired together, set my sub up, probably do it with one sub at the moment, and then play around with the room a little bit more. And then if I'm not happy, then I'm going to add my other sub. So it's like in a 3 or 4 stage process. But it's all come from this stage of doing speaker isolation and how much it's affected the sound, and made me realise that actually I don't really want my bookshelves making a lot of bass. I want them to be doing what they're designed to do, and I want the subs to be playing the bass and the notes that I'm looking for, to make it overall impressive. But anyway, that's what I found. Isolation tightens up your bass notes. It doesn't take them away. It just gives you control. Okay, see you later.